Gazi, ube mnandi, zonke izinto zibe manzi. Homie, don't worry, hold up. No mgozi goes up in off, skin it in. Dishing out the truth, so start tuning in. Can't tolagale. Come get skata ulewani. Social issues, this so easily. Giving you the latest news so instantly. Gender we tighter. Keep the channel locked on Mzansi Insider.
Nizakuwe my baby, Nizakuwe my sugar. Nachondingera kwipanoe, nachondikabelisti-mela. Nizakuwe my baby, Nizakuwe my honey, Nizakuwe my baby. Unborn impilo ngaphandle kwakho, ngoba shisa njengomlilo ufudumeza inhliziyo uyayifudumeza. Mntana umuntu ndithanda ngendlela emangazayo, ndiyababona nje lababanye andinandaba nabo. Natsho ndingena kwibhano natsho ndingena kwibhano, natsho ndigibela isitimela. Ndiza kuwe, natsho ndingena kwibhano, natsho ndigibela isitimela. Ndiza kuwe, ndiza kuwe my baby, ndiza kuwe my sugar. Hey, 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 hey. Oh. Ndiza kuwe my baby. Baby, come to that. Kihutwara hamunati. Hashtag, babe. Hashtag, my love, love of my life. You light my fire. Ufudumeza inhliziyo yami. Uyayifudumeza. Oh, mntana umuntu ngithanda ngendlela emangazayo. Ubuhlela kuwe isigalo, hey isigalo. Ayo, natsho ndagibela ibhano, natsho ndagibela. Hey, natsho ndingena kwibhano, ndingena kwibhano.
Oh yes. What's happening? It's me, Zama.
My guy.
We're good, we're good. Thanks for waking up bright and early with us. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, you know, like Slow vibe, slow jam.
Yes, tell us about this slow jam.
Well, this is my new single from my new album. It's called Ipanoi.
All right.
Yeah, yes, it's coming from an album called Kiwaka. Yeah, yes. You know
how album.
Yeah, ki album Kiwaka, liene Kiwaka.
Let's talk a little bit about the song. The production is absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
The guitar lines, killer.
Thank you so much.
Who produced the song? Who did you work with on the song?
Well, me and Techno, a guy called Techno P, we produced the song, but obviously after producing it, we took it to the people, to the live musicians, just to give it that proper.
Nice.
Yes.
Love, absolutely
Now,
love.
Ishmael, I know that you break all the rules of genre. You do every single genre there is to be done. So explain to me why you are a genreless artist.
I think it's the love of music, man. I listen to everything, and I'm inspired by all kinds of vibes, all kinds of, from your hip hop to your soul to your jazz to your R&B to your kwaito to everything.
Yes.
Yabo. So in that way, I think it stays with me. Yabo.
Yeah.
What I listen to stays with me, so I don't really choose music. Yabo.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Perfect way to kickstart the show.
Yes.
And we're in it. What's happening, everybody? Welcome to Mzansi Insider.
Yes, hanging out with, I was so waiting for him to say his name, because he always does. Hanging out with Kat Sidavasi, hashtag Mzansi Insider. And here's what's on this episode today. Check it out.
Namhlanje kuMzansi Insider.
Was my everything, and I only had him. My mom left us when I was 18 months old.
Do you ever clean the toilets? I'm just trying to figure this out.
Have you done all aspects of the business?
I've done everything. My friends always call me the #1 man in the #2 business.
Markets are popping up everywhere, so we got the backstory of one of South Africa's biggest black business markets.
Brown Sense is a market and directory that promotes black businesses. Sounds interesting enough? Let's check it out.
Absolutely. If you want to share your story on our perspective segment, all you have to do is just an email mzansiinsider@bongwe.tv. Mustn't get it in Dabeni. This week's perspective goes a little something like this.
Email.
My name is Mzansi Insider, the founder of the Brown Sense Market. The reason why I started this market is to create a space whereby black, budding entrepreneurs can have a space to expose themselves, their products, their services. This is the third of the Brown Sense markets, but the first at this scale. When I say this scale, I mean the space behind me, the consistency in terms of it happening every month. So enjoy yourself, just sit back and enjoy the ride. So the market has started, a bit of some challenges. It's the first time, power being one of them. And it's packed, man. I'll show you around, speak to a few people, and get to show you what's on sale and what's going on. Cool. Hi, Sisi, how are you?
Hi, I'm fine. How are you?
Good, thank you. So who am I speaking to?
You are speaking to Dumelo Mulele.
Dumelo Mulele.
Yes, the author of 3 titles.
Yeah, 3 titles, yeah?
We've got Her Heart, right? And we've got His Joy.
Okay.
And then we have The Dry Tears of a Busy Child.
Wow, okay.
So I'm a self-published author.
Debuka, I see that you've got, can you show me the bottle, please? This Tandy.
So this Tandy one is Sauvignon Blanc.
Yes.
100% female owned, 100% black owned wine.
That's power right there, yeah?
Sauvignon Blanc. They also have, unfortunately I don't have them today, but they also have a Merlot and they have a Cabernet Sauvignon.
Okay.
Okay, just Google them, you can find them online.
I have a brand called The Word by Look Creative, and I'm wearing it right now.
Yeah.
And it's basically scripture on a t-shirt, an entire t-shirt.
Oh, wow, okay.
So this one is the Book of John.
The whole book of John, or like a certain scripture chapter?
No, this is the entire Book of John. You can find me on Facebook on The Word by Look Creative.
What brings you to the market to meet this circle?
I think it's just an idea of a community of entrepreneurs getting together, supporting one another.
What's your thoughts? What do you want to say to the rest of the nation?
Super black people together support black business forever and forever. Black economic empowerment.
Yeah. This is the real being.
The beginning, the real being.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's good to see black businesses prosper, but it's also in our hands to support them. It's mostly important to sibancede abantu bethu, uyangithola?
Yeah, and there's a lot of black businesses out there, so it's just for us to find them and support them. We continue here on Mzansi Insider.
Keep the channel locked on Mzansi Insider. You know what it is, Mzansi Insider.
We are back, and so is the great content.
You don't say. Well, it's time for us to head on straight to the office because, you know, we're always showing you the things that are popping in your country.
Yes, we speak to players that make Amapopai. Yes, Amapopai. They were here on season 3, and now they're back to touch base on life as a young animation business in the world of evolving technology.
Hey, Maramalums, I could never get over the Shandy's Boise.
Showcase ushubusi, ne?
Hi, man, Malums, the Kulichana situation.
Issue.
Okay, back. The Khatas bafika. Bakipa den cheese.
Issue.
Bampambanisa, they shoot at the nigga.
Aibo.
Kotwa bamisa. Lord. Tina bebangeke basenze next nje. Nafukwa. Sub-luto tina, sub-nix.
And they're joining us in studio. I'm speaking about Te, KK, as well as B1. What's up, guys? How are you guys doing?
Good. We're doing good, eh?
Welcome back to the show, because last time we didn't have you in studio, but we came to your house. That's how we is. So are you guys rich now? From the last time we saw you, like, nearly?
Not where we want to be, but we're not at the same place anymore. We've now moved from Centurion to Northcliffe now.
All right.
Oh,
So
that sounds like moving up.
You know?
That's good. So how's the business going?
Basically what we've done now is we've spent a lot. The last time we hooked up, we were just starting the business. So now we've spent a lot of time structuring the business.
All right.
You know, putting all these elements together, like roles. For instance, the finances, the most important things, the finances.
The last time it was like for fun. We were doing it as fun stuff as guys. But now we started to realize that, hey, this thing can actually be a real business.
Yeah.
So for the first time we're learning, oh, this is what a business needs.
What are some of the things you guys had to be firm?
Like time management and getting, finishing on time with deadlines and whatever. So we're just trying to adjust and be more professional with that.
Nice.
Now, a lot of your work is based on hip-hop. A lot of your characters, it's all situated around hip-hop. Why is that?
Yeah, because of the influence mainly. I could say we all influenced highly. You can even see by the way we dress and the way we speak. Hip-hop is a thing. But we're trying to branch out and branch away from just being known as the hip-hop guys.
Yeah.
We actually do more than just hip-hop, you know what I mean?
All right.
So that's one thing we're trying to change about ourselves, you know?
Must be animation in our country because it's not something that's big. You know what I'm saying? There might be a whole lot of animators, but we don't see Amapopaya that are locally created all over our TV screens. We don't see that many films that are created in our country. So what exactly are you guys trying to do? Because I can see that we're headed somewhere out here. We are headed.
Yeah, we are actually trying to push boundaries. I don't want to reveal too much on what we're working on and stuff, but we are coming together trying to create a movie, change the game a bit. We've got a couple of crazy stories, trying to tell African stories, not just African but African as in you as an African yourself can relate, you know?
Yeah, it's funny because we're discussing this as all of us, some of the stories that our parents lived, for example.
Yeah.
We say African, but let's say contemporary African or their contemporary African, how they grew up, how they lived, the fashion. I mean, it's influencing us now. Yeah. So those sort of stories about how they came up to making us.
Yeah. Cool. So you guys were here on season 3. I wasn't here, so I want to really know, what are those things that you guys learned? And apparently you have a presentation for us to take us through. Go figure. Because they're like animators, you know what I mean? The standard is really high, so you're going to take us through. Yeah.
Broke. That sounds like
So it's
me.
tough being black and broke. Take us through that.
Oh, I see an N there. Broke.
It is, because if you're trying to get a lot of things done, you need capital. honestly speaking, for us even, just to get started, we needed an investor initially, which was tough.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we got that.
Yeah.
And then we were able to do and produce most of the stuff that we did produce, you know what I mean? But initially, you need that income, that first capital. Without that, it's difficult, man.
Teamwork is king, yeah.
Well, with teamwork, you know, makes the dream work, basically. So, like, everybody is needed or everybody is necessary to play their part so that everything can grow into one big tree.
Nice. Next one? How to solve problems.
Yeah, like, it's one thing to always like say, okay, fine, I've got a problem, I can't do A, B, C, but then what are you doing about that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You need to always solve the problem so that you can, I don't know how to put this. Artists come up with solutions, basically. Yeah. Artists are supposed
find ways
to come up,
to move on and keep it going.
Exactly, yeah.
Nice. Next one. Money first before. Yo. We ain't friends. We ain't friends. So take me through this.
This is actually something we've also started going across right now.
Yeah.
Because now we're trying to structure something that's viable, you know, something that can keep going. So lately we've started doing where business first, let's cover the business aspect of it. And then the creativity will always lead the way.
Yeah.
But as long as the business is covered properly, then you can create as much as you want.
That proper structure
Yeah.
that keeps you guys.
No more favors. No more 2 hours wasted on 2 hours.
nothing.
Then you lost 2 hours worth of money.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Looks like so, last one.
I think this one is pretty basic.
Yeah.
Love what you do.
Passion.
Yeah, passion. If you're not passionate about what you do, then you're wasting your time.
Yeah. I like this one. I really do. So you guys have a last one. Let's see. This was the last one. So love what you do. You guys ended on a high.
Yeah.
Just after the money and the conversation went down. Love what you do.
They got moist there at the end.
Love what you do. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We can only wish you the best. We hope that you guys will indeed leave your mark in the industry.
Can you make a Popeye of me and Rory?
Yeah, of course.
Easy.
Yeah, but after number 4, you know.
Manifest.
We'll get our people to pay you. This is SABC 1. What you talking?
What you know?
We'll animate this whole show.
You'll animate this whole show.
Sounds like a good idea. Well, thank you so much for joining us, gents.
You went to school at a library, basically. So grade 4, how was at a library?
Then you a report card for grade 4.
Keep the channel locked on Mzansi Insider. You know what it is, Mzansi Insider.
Welcome back to Mzansi Insider right here on SABC 1, Mzansi for sure. Now, tutor can lead to a world of possibilities. Me hangata ho ba thata tseleng mona hantse re tsamaya. Mara hona le ba bang ba rona ba leng motlotlo ho bana le batho ba re tshetsang nakong tsenana. Ebe ke bo mang batho banana? Tsatsing la kajeno re keteka a young lady yena nka kgonang hore I owe my degree to my father.
Zola Mapila is the perfect example of perseverance and determination. Her father, who had minimum wage, pushed through to ensure that in the end, she reached her goal of education and hopefully lived a life that was better than the one he had. Most of the time, he had to sacrifice all to ensure that she got her degree.
At some point, Zola la tshwanela hore a tlohelle sekolo hobane yena le ntate wa hae ba sa kgone ho afforda di-fees tsa hae. Mme o teng kajeno in studio joining us. Hello.
Hello.
Ho jwang hle o sa ka? Ndiyaphila. So what happened what did your dad do when you guys found out that he could not afford to continue paying your studies?
Okay, so if I remember correctly, I think I was in grade 3 when that happened. And then Tata Mafika, and he sat me down and he was like, look, I lost my job. He was working at a car dealership at the time.
Okay.
And then he got retrenched. So wathi jonga Zola ndilahlekele ngumsebenzi and I can't afford to take you to school anymore. But what I want you to do in the meantime, while I sort this situation out for us, I want you every day to go to the library. And the library was 6 or 7 minutes away from where I lived.
So at grade 3, you had to stop school?
At the end of grade 3.
At the end wow. But I heard that you guys would go together to the library. Tell me about those moments.
Yes, so in the morning, he would sort of like look for a job, but in the afternoons, he dedicated himself to always checking up on me at library and just helping me with basic math lessons.
How long did this last?
This lasted for a year.
Wow. So you went to school at a library, basically. So grade 4, how was at a library?
Then get a report card for grade 4.
Wow. You say you owe your degree to him. What do you mean by that?
When I say that, so in 2012, right, during my 3rd year, I sort of like went into depression mode. I think all of that, you know, being alone, you know, Utatam was my everything, and I only had him. I wasn't exposed to most of my family members. So to, you know, get to that point where you realize, you know, actually I'm on my own, you know, and uhlale res, and like your friends, like your friends' parents are coming, checking up on them, making sure that they have enough money, have enough food to eat. And then, I don't know, I just went downhill from there.
Which makes sense. Hold on, where was your mom?
My mom stays now in Kailicha, but she left us when I was 18 months old.
Oh, okay, cool. So you never really had
a relationship
with her. What kept you going? You know, you could have just, okay, cool, my dad is not here. I give up. What kept you going during those times?
To be honest, during that 3rd year, I just went into like extreme sadness. But I realized, you know, okay, utata mageko, but he would have wanted me to finish this degree. And I need to make something of myself just to make him proud. So I think that's the number one thing that.
You know what I want to ask you, because you're saying in your 3rd year, but your dad passed on in your 1st year. So the rest of the 1st year, 2nd year, where was your mind space?
During my 2nd year, so that was after my father passed away. You know, I was honestly trying to block things out. I had my friends that were extremely supportive. But, you know, I think they themselves got tired of, you know, like checking up on me all the time, which is understandable because you know, they have to make sure that they pass as well. They can't baby me all the time. But yeah, so 2nd year was okay, but the 3rd year was the most difficult.
The reality. And life goes on. You know, and people move on and they're not as supportive because they assume you're okay.
Exactly.
Registration. What was that process like? Did your father go with you? What happened that day?
So I remember that day like it was yesterday. I remember my dad had we decided to take the train, right, to Stellenbosch. And so he had like these 10-cent coins and 20-cent coins, 50-cent coins in like a money bag. And that is what he used to pay for our transportation to and from Stellenbosch. So we get to registration, line is so long. It's the first time we were at Stellenbosch. We don't know what to do, where to go. But anyway, I stand in that registration line, and ndafika and I registered, but the only problem was that I needed a registration fee, which was approximately 7,000. So I went back to student fees offices. We had nothing, mali at all, only had those 10-cent, 20-cent coins in that money bag. My dad is like, look, you know, there's not much that I can do for you. I'm a pensioner, but funeka ungene in that office and bachazele istori sakho. You know, it's nothing to be ashamed of. Tell them you can't afford it, but show them matric marks sakho because they're very good, you know. And you never know what might happen. So I did as I was told. I went to student fees offices, and I remember, okay, the name just got to me, Mr. Immelman. And I told him my story, and the only thing he did was look at my matric marks, and he signed a piece of paper, and he was like, look, this is what you use to go through all the channels now.
How does it feel now sitting here relaying that story and just looking back?
It's crazy. You know what I used to do when I was little, because I had a lot of time on my hands. I used to and imagine people interviewing me. So to look back on what I used to do as a child and now being able to live like my dreams and being able to tell my story, because this has always been my dream. It's just overwhelming.
Yeah. If your dad was here, what would you say to him?
I would say, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You taught me so much. And also, I wouldn't have done it without, you know, Crystal House. Crystal House took me in, which was a school that where you go in and you don't have to pay anything.
Oh, wow.
So at that point, Crystal House came when I needed it the most.
Yeah.
And Crystal House does so much for abantwana bafunda phayana, like you have no idea.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that I actually work for Crystal House at the moment.
Nice.
So to be able to be at that point where they give up back and go to
Yeah.
Crystal House and
Yeah.
being thankful for what they've done for me as well, it's really great for me.
Yeah. So what exactly do you do?
I'm the executive assistant to the CEO at Crystal
nice.
House.
Yeah, you guys do amazing work. Thank you so much for coming. I'm feeling so inside, and because, like I said, a lot of people can relate, and it's just so beautiful to see how Batswadi ba rona will really go to the lengths to give us the best, you know. As you're sitting here talking, I'm thinking about my own situation and other people that I know where parents really go out of their way to give us the best. And I think your story is one that many of us can relate with, one, and two, I think it will inspire us that, you know, if your dad could put together 10-cent coins and 20-cent coins and give you that confidence to walk into offices and ask, you know, and not just assume that the doors are closed, then I guess it will encourage us to do the same. We will be back. Right now it's time for us to listen to some music. We'll see you in a bit.
When I listen to the doctor, there's logic and maturity, and I think it's something that you are lacking at the moment.
Keep the channel locked on Mzansi Insider. You know what it is, Mzansi Insider.
Now, we've seen a growing trend in women empowerment, from media to politics to social understanding. But how do men deal with this new, better idea of women? Do we know how to be empowered men with empowered women?
And we have our experts in studio, Mona and the Insider Loft. Kibuaka Dr. Richie, who is also an executive coach as well as pastor, and our very own Sis Dudu/Dolly, but we'll stick to the Dudu, who is a dating expert. And first, we're just going to answer a very simple question. Ebe, Banna, are they being made ready with this idea of a new empowered woman? Kapo, basiaka ntlena kwenyena na hansa kibuaka the empowering of women. And yeah, hello.
Hello.
How are you? Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Sort of a different topic that we're tackling today, very real, something that's picking up in society. Are men being neglected?
I think men are being neglected, and particularly I think they're neglected by women in bringing them to this journey. So my view is that, you know, before you go and judge a species to say you've adopted this form of thinking, we have to look at how we as society have conditioned our men, especially in the African context, to say a man is a provider, a man leads, and he is the person you look up to in a relationship. And now you have different dynamics changing, but we also have to look at how we're raising our boys. So it's very easy for us as women to point fingers and say men don't actually want to adopt to the new ways of doing things. But if you're raising a boy to say that, you know, you are above a woman, you're above a girl, you always are going to lead, and making him uncomfortable with the idea that a woman is able to lead, then we should look at ourselves as women and say, how are we contributing to this?
Interesting.
How do you feel, sir? As a man, do you feel like women are being neglected in that empowerment?
It depends on who is defining empowerment and who is saying who is neglected. That's where we start from. Who is defining it? If you have about 5 or 10 or 20 people, does that make the statistics right? You don't use universal statement, our men. It is which people. That's where we're going to start from, because you don't use 3 people's definition of experience to decide for every human being. So we need to know, who are we talking about? When people use the language we, I need to know who are the we, because I'm not part of your we. We make it subjective. Their parents, their families that are doing great jobs. We don't have to blame people, everybody, for other people's mistakes. And people grow to make their own choices. People also empower themselves. My parents didn't force me to go and do PhD. I chose to do it myself. There are girls that chose to go to school. They didn't want to sleep and lose stuff over hot coffee because they need money overnight, looking for blazer crops. So where these things coming from? Everybody should answer their own name. When you get to class, when we were in primary school, they will call your name. You say, yes, present. You answer your name. Let's deal with individuals. Let people accept responsibility and not hide in the crowd.
Absolutely. Now, it's fantastic that you said, let's deal with individuals. We do have an individual on the line. Lebu, are you there?
Hello.
What's happening? How are you doing, sir?
I'm not okay, my brother.
Tell us why. Tell us what your situation is.
You know, while she was at school, I used to, take good care of her, do all this lovey-dovey, take her to movies, support her, put on different streams of life, take her through all these things but now things have changed because now she's got a degree, she's working, and now I'm no longer that person that we're no longer that happy couple anymore.
So you almost don't feel good enough.
Because of the status, our status now is different because now.
Is she making more money than you? Lebu?
Yeah, hello?
Is she making more money than you?
Yeah, she's making more money than me.
Okay. Your take?
I don't think Lebu's problem is the fact that this woman is empowered. I think that Lebu's problem is the fact that roles have changed, and also I think it speaks to something with regards to your self-esteem, Lebu. So what I'm gathering is that you used to do things for her, and that used to make you feel good about yourself. You felt that your place in a relationship was to do for her. Now that she's actually able to do things for yourself, you're actually wondering where do you fit into this equation, and you have to look deep inside you and ask yourself, how do you define yourself in this relationship? How do you define yourself as a man? Do you define yourself by the ability to provide? And if you're not able to provide, does it mean that you're less of a man in a relationship? And people evolve, right? She probably is a different person to what she was. She's gone to school. She's exploring the world. The world is much more bigger than it was, and it's probably bigger than Lebu. And Lebu has to ask himself, why is he not able to accept that? I think it has very little to do with the woman and everything to do with you.
Your take, sir?
When I work with people that are having issues, I don't work with one person. Yes, I put the two together because number one, do you have a settled identity? That's where it begins. And why did you do what you did for the woman?
Let's ask him. Lebu.
Yes, sir.
We are using a question in Punjab. Why did you feel like you needed to do all the things that you did?
Because I hate the sudden change. Like when we built something, like 2 years ago, we used to be together and do all these things. But it must not change. We must just keep on continuing doing that. A degree or a job must not change our circumstances. It must not change the way me and her were treating each other. Why all of a sudden the sudden change? Why couldn't she be the person that I met back then before she became empowered?
From what I'm hearing, Lebu, is that you say there's change, and probably there is, but you've taken a stance to complain more than say, how do I actually contribute to this situation that we have? I have a problem with the idea that he thinks the only problem is the fact that now that she's empowered, she has changed. I think the circumstances have changed. It's like if you're a stay-at-home mom and now you're working, it's changed. It has nothing to do with the fact that you are empowered or anything like that. Just your situation has changed.
Dr. Grishi, you were on a trail of thought when you were like, you need to find out who you are and figure out why you do the things that you do.
Because the thing is that the fact that the woman is not earning more than you should not actually challenge your machismo. But if you got a problem with that, then we need to understand where is your fear coming from? And what are you doing now? Because if you are busy yourself, you will not actually notice that she's busy.
Thank you.
You understand? If, for instance, today I'm in New York 3 days after that, I'm in London. And then when I come back, I have 5 meetings to attend every day. I won't think that. But if I'm actually doing nothing, maybe I empowered you to go and make money. And now you're making money. I'm actually staying more at home than you are always busy. It's easy for me to look at time. What time are you coming back? You understand? For instance, I expect you, before I got you to school, you cooked for me. You washed my clothes. But excuse me, you're working now? And now I want you to still cook the same way you were cooking, to still do the things you used to do. Listen, I'm an Igbo man. When I got married to my wife, my culture said she's going to do this, do this, do this, do that. And that's what I expected of her. We had a problem with that. I called the mom. I said, I don't understand this. But over time, the Spirit of God said to me, wait a moment, let's sit down and let's check it. Because sometimes you need to hear God. And God said to me, let's take a look at what she's doing. And then I started checking what she was doing. I woke her up and I apologized. I said, I just realized I didn't marry a slave.
And I think
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So I need to wake up to know that she cannot do it all the time that she used, but she can do it when it is convenient. And it doesn't mean she doesn't love to do it. Sometimes she can do it in one day. She cook a lot and put it in the fridge. That I still want her to put it on the table for me. No, it doesn't work. Things have changed.
Let's come to a solution. How does he get himself out of this rut that he's in?
Okay. I think we need to stop babysitting Lebo. Lebo, I'm sorry, but when I listen to the doctor, there's logic and maturity, and I think it's something that you are lacking at the moment. I'm sorry to sound so harsh, but let's look at logic. When you introduce something that is new to a person, it changes. It's inevitable that change is going to happen. So you need to sit down and say, like the doctor said, that what are you doing for yourself that you're so concerned about the fact that she is not doing what she used to do? Do something different. Introduce something that is encompassing of the new change in the relationship. Sit down, have a conversation with yourself. Ask yourself that, what does logic say?
Lebo?
Yeah, my brother.
Yeah, we're going to try to connect you with the doctor.
Yes. Yeah,
okay, cool. We'll connect you, Lebo, and just make sure. We wish you all the best, hey, in your relationship. We have a team of insiders as well as experts who can help you sort of deal with these things. So, kopa phone social media, whatever. Email who Mzansi Insider at bongwe.tv. Let us hear your story. Let's see how we can help you out.
Keep the channel locked on Mzansi Insider. You know what it is, Mzansi Insider.
Today's power person has become stinking rich as one of the biggest toilet hire businesses in Gauteng and possibly South Africa. The power of starting small and growing rapidly has proven to be a success for the owner of East Rand Toilet Hire. Zwelethu Ndlovu, a Wits graduate, took his time in becoming the biggest and youngest business owner in this sector. Not too bad for a smelly situation.
Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Mzansi Insider.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me here.
Oh, now she's acting like she's not excited about you being stinking rich anymore.
I don't want to do it anymore. Okay, cool. So apparently you're stinking rich. It smells like money.
Level 5, blesser.
17. 17. We're setting the standard.
Thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
So we want to, get to know you a little bit. Oh, it's a guy. Where did you grow up? How was your upbringing like?
Well, I was born in Soweto. I lived there for 7 years of my life. Then we moved to East Rand. I grew up in Spruitview. Lived there for 10, 15 years or so. Then I moved to a suburb in Boksburg, which is Sunwood Park, which is sort of.
I want to teach you. Do you see what he did? Why are some big inverted covers?
Well, it's what they call it. It's a suburb. So yeah, but anyway, we moved up a bit in life and sort of left the hood, and then and I still live there as well today.
What type of person were you when you were younger? Were you very ambitious or were you just chilled?
I've actually always been just a very chilled person, but I think I've just always had a life plan for myself. In terms of growing up, I've never struggled to know what it is that I want out of life, what it is that I want to do, and then at one point. So it's just literally just been about that really, to the plans, dreaming and implementing really, and
You saw a gap.
No, not really a gap. It was, how it started was that it was just basically a small family business that was, that my parents had run. But they were running limitedly, so you know, your usual funerals, imshato, that kind of thing.
Triple M.
The Triple M, exactly, yes. And as it grew, but then as obviously times went and all that, the business wasn't doing that well and all that. But because I'd been so involved in it from day one, literally when it started, I knew it. I knew it basically. So when I finished school, I thought, look, there's great massive potential in this, and I'm gonna go into that. My mother wasn't too happy about it because she was like, no, this was just enough for you to go to school, go to varsity, get a job and all that, and live your life and all that. There's no future in this. And we fought about that for the longest time. And then I said, okay, no, fine. I went to varsity, got my degree. So when that was done, it was like, look, there's your certificate and all that. And obviously, though, in between, while studying and all that, I was running the business during varsity. And I grew it literally from day one as I finished school, and I've been doing it since. Never worked for anybody, and yeah,
That's
it is where it is. Thank you.
Boom. Drop that. What are some of the challenges within this industry?
Abantu abaningi, when they look at the industry also from the outside, and it's still looked at as, especially from Ekasi, from the black people perspective, you know, wow, bani running around up and down all day, to turn on my toilet, just dropping them off and all that, and it's just a survival kind of thing, just so you can feed the kids and all that, and they don't realize just how massive the industry is. It's huge, it's huge.
Now, what are some of the things that you've done that set your business apart? Where would you say the success of your business lies?
One thing that has helped is that some of my competitors, it's actually owned by massive corporations. I'm talking JC-listed companies with billions and billions and billions of rands in it. So when you work in a corporate structure, obviously, then you know you got managers and this and that and CEOs. But with me, because it's basically it's been owner managed. What's always helped a lot is the fact like things like turnaround time in terms of decisions. So we sometimes have a client like the other day where they in one of the massive supermarket chains, and they had like a water cut and all that, and they call you at like 4:45 in the afternoon. They're like, we need toilets now. And you call other companies like, no, sorry, we're knocking off, we're done. And I say, but for me, it's like, no, because I know what it is that I want, and you know, you want to deliver for all clients and all that. And I was in there, I was like, no, fine, I will do it. And you know, before I'd even phoned around to see who was where and what, you just say yes, and then you worry about how you're going to do it later, and we delivered. And that's basically it. It's always been about that. Customer service has been great. I've gotten a lot of clients moving from the other bigger companies because they complain about this is that kind of thing, and they actually say to you, we've been told about you and we want to work with you.
Do you ever clean the toilets? I'm just trying to figure this
out.
Actually,
look, have you like done all aspects of the business?
I've done everything. Like I said, when I was involved from a kid, obviously, then it was just literally just answering on my phones and all that. And then you just understand the patterns of it. To go, all right, this is an orders process, ganjalo. So as I started to grow, as I started growing up, I mean, I used to even deliver. And there were times where you have problems now. What driver, and all that. And the delivery must go out. It was just normal. It was like, well, it's business.
It's in your blood.
It's in your blood. And you just carry on. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Now, let's get to some serious stuff. It's really interesting to see young black people who own their own businesses. And that's the sort of thing. What is your advice into empowering young black minds to owning their own businesses?
The most important thing I've always said, and I always get guys, they'll ask me like, Zweli, what do you think I should do? First of all, I've always said that if you come to me and you ask me, what this idea do you have, what I should do, then you're not ready to be in business, because the whole point of business is that you need to see a need, you need to see a problem, and you need to know how to solve it.
Absolutely.
So rather, if it was a game and you say, look, I've got this intersoil that I want to do, I've been coming painter, so what do you think? Then obviously, then I can give advice. Because now you've run that idea through your head, and you're already, you know, you're passionate about it. You know, I can't tell you about something I'm going to be passionate about. Because it's not my every time you look so you need to be able to figure out your own solutions. That's number one. And then number two is patience. Like, you know, that you just have to be patient. It's gonna get tough. It's gonna get ridiculously tough, and there'll be times where you fall, there'll be times when you fail and all that. But that is part of the lessons that you need to learn and you need to embrace in order to become the person that ultimately you want to be. Because without all those errors that you make and all that, you know, forget about running a massive business because you need to put all those little bits together in order to build that strong support base for eventually that the company that you want to do. Yeah. And then number 3 is literally just do it.
Okay, wow.
Literally just do it. Just do it.
Just do it.
Just
Thank you so
do
much
it.
for coming to hang with us. We really learned a lot from you. You said your friends call you?
Number 1 man in the number 2 business.
I mean, if the number 1 man in the number 2 business.
Look into a mirror and regulate yourself. I see me. Look at this shit that we doing. Motivate yourself. 100. Brace yourself. I done got my motherfucking juice back. I done got my motherfucking juice back. I done got my juice back. I done got my motherfucking juice back.
And that's where we call it a day. Mzansi Insider. It's been fantastic. I mean, Ishmael pulled through and like serenaded us. What are you talking about?
Kuri, he left us feeling very, very nice. I think we've had an awesome show.
Yep.
You know, the animation guys doing amazing stuff. And it's always good to see people who've been on the show come back to show us the progress that they've done.
You know why they call themselves Patoons? Because when I do this and you look, I go, Pa-toons. But that's
moving right along.
I also love relationship goals because I mean we always help out an insider. And today we're talking about empowered men dating empowered women.
It got a bit real, but sometimes we need those real moments and to have those honest conversations so that we learn and we all grow.
We out of here, baby.
I make it juicy for 2.